Hey everyone, welcome to the Catholic Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Fisher. Today we have guest John Johnson. He's the CEO of Patmos. Before we dive in with him, just want to ask you a question. What platform do you typically listen to the podcast on? Please tweet me, Mitchell J. Fisher. I'm curious what platform you usually listen on. Without further ado, we'll go ahead and bring in John Johnson. John, how are you doing?
What's up, Mitch? Doing good. How you doing?
Good. Thanks so much for hopping on. I thought we could just start with you just introducing yourself and what you do.
Sure. I'm John Johnson. I founded a company called Patmos Hosting. Also founded the Albertus Magnus Institute. I am a husband, married very, very well, if I do say so myself, and I have 6 kids, 9 and under. How's
Very
that?
cool. Amazing. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Tell me a little bit about what you do with Patmos. I mean, what's kind of the gist of your company?
I'm the CEO. So Patmos, you might recognize, is the name of the island to which the beloved disciple was exiled. So Patmos is this home for censorship-resistant hosting. So if you get canceled by big tech, you can come to Patmos without fear of being deplatformed for your free speech. So we were started, actually. I was running a consultancy a few years ago, and we were reselling hosting solutions from big tech to our clients. And then those hosting solutions started canceling our clients without warning or notice in a way that didn't really make the papers or anything like that, but it was devastating to these businesses. And so we decided that if it's happening to these little guys, then it's probably happening to a lot of people. And boy, were we right. So we founded Patmos, bought our first data center in 2022. And since then, we've grown to, I think, over 70 employees at last count and 3 data centers. So we still do a bunch of professional services. We develop apps and websites, but then you have a home at Patmos and a data center that won't cancel you because of what you believe. We don't host pornography and don't do anything illegal. But other than that, you can say whatever you want to say, whether or not we agree with it.
That's incredible. I mean, what an interesting way of kind of coming about what creating Patmos. What did you do? So consulting wise, what were some of the things that you were doing with companies that kind of led to this new venture? Like even before that, I'm curious, what your background has been on just entrepreneurship.
That's an interesting question. It's kind of in my bones. I think it's sales and entrepreneurship is coursing through my veins. I remember when I was but a wee John Johnson, and I after the day after Halloween, when all the kids got their candy bag, I would be out there selling candy like a lemonade stand on November 1st. And it wasn't too successful of a venture, but whatever I had to sell it. And so there's kind of 2 types of CEOs. I would say there's the more technical engineering type, and I'm not that type. So my gifts are in bringing people together to do things that other people think are impossible. And that's how Patmos came to be. So I was running a consultancy that was just basically building websites and apps and then reselling hosting. But we decided to verticalize that hosting pipeline to protect clients from censorship because the threats are very real.
Definitely. What kind of businesses and companies do you work with then? Like who's your typical customer that's needing your help with these things?
Oh, all sizes. We host, we have thousands of clients. It's pretty cool actually to see who we host. So, even if they're not really what I would call ideologically or mission aligned, we can host businesses of all sizes. Like we host one international bank. We host one large metropolitan cities infrastructure. So we're very secure. We have 2 tier 4 data centers, 1 tier 3 data center. Netflix has to stream right through our data center in Kansas City to get to homes in that area. So as an internet service provider, we could cancel big tech, but we don't because we're really nice people. So yeah. And then of course, in the mission aligned front, a lot of content creators and media paywalls and stuff like this. So we also build apps. We just wrapped up a cool AR app. We wrapped up a fertility app recently. I'm just kind of going down the list of most recent projects, but yeah, it's pretty cool because we offer a sort of start to finish pipeline for any IT need. And then you get great service from a US based team the whole way through. Or if you're in Europe, you have a European team as well.
Nice. Very cool. What's your day-to-day look like then right now?
Right now?
I'm sure it's crazy, but
my day-to-day looks like taking a call, missing 5 calls while I'm on that call, opening up a queue, saying, I'll call you back, and then calling back and rinse and repeat, right? It's a very busy season right now, and I'm doing a lot of work, but it's very good work, and I'm blessed to work with really fantastic people who make me look awesome.
What was one of the biggest challenges kind of starting this? Obviously, this was kind of born out of necessity, a problem that you found. What was the biggest challenge to get to where you're at right now?
The biggest challenge is overcoming the fear and how you have to see how real it is to actually compete against big tech like giants like Amazon. Amazon has AWS has like 419 data centers, and you think, wow, they have 419 data centers. We only have 3. But then I think AWS only has 419 data centers. Like, we can do this. And so there's you're Catholic, so I can say this, but if you read the Diary of Maria Faustina, have you ever read that?
I haven't, no.
Okay, it's pretty cool. But she's talking to Jesus in one of these visions, and our Lord says to her, she's asking him, Lord, how do I do everything you want me to do? This is impossible. And he says to her these words that burn in my heart every day. He says to her, take courage, daughter. The world is not as strong as it seems. And it's really, really not. Every ounce of censorship and deplatforming that big tech has been giving the world for the last 5 years is nothing but a sign of tremendous weakness. The only reason they want to cancel my little dinky clients is because they're really afraid of what some of these people have to say. And that tells me that they can be beaten in an embarrassing fashion. I think realizing what tech is, right? Tech should be at the service of humans. Tech is a tool. Techne, right? Is things with which you do other things with for certain higher purposes. And big tech has that order reversed. Big tech wants to make the tool the end, not the means. And so I think the answer to beating big tech is in real tech. That is tech that actually does a purpose that promotes human flourishing. And so as a company, Patmos tries to do that in everything from our terms and conditions for our customers to our employee handbook. We honor, we don't expect people to work on Sundays unless they're manning a data center. We offer holy days of obligation as days off. We pay people bonuses for having babies while big tech is paying them to have abortions. And so we take this really, I think, well, I guess reactionary is a bad word, but we take a really counterintuitive stance when it comes to the modern corporate lifestyle. And for that reason, we've been able to attract talent from very big places. Like our COO is the former CISO of GoDaddy. What's he doing with a little company like us, right? We have special forces in the military who have found us. We have a technical director at AWS. Why are these people in this cultural exodus from Silicon Valley coming to find a little rinky-dink company like Patmos? It's very encouraging to me.
Absolutely. No, I mean, what an amazing mission and purpose. I think it's refreshing to hear that there's people like you and companies like yours that are like fighting for that. I think it's important that as Catholics we're in that space, and I think that's absolutely huge. What would be your advice to Catholics in tech who might be kind of maybe they're working in big tech and there's this cultural struggle? I'm sure you see it, it's there. Like, what's your advice to that person, or maybe someone who's wants to start their own thing and kind of get out there, but there's that fear?
Yeah. I'll quote Pope Leo the Great for this one, but he says, recognize your dignity, O human. And the only reason that people would subordinate themselves to work at a company like AWS that makes you pee in a Gatorade bottle to deliver your Christmas presents or cuts 7% of their workforce, maybe 10% actually annually. The only reason that somebody would subordinate themselves to that kind of perverse mission is because they do not recognize their own dignity, or they don't recognize an alternative to that sort of slavery, that it actually exists. There's many great Catholic companies growing up out of the woodwork, even beyond Catholic, just companies of goodwill who appreciate what culture and the power of culture and an authentic human culture can do. It's not just, like this sort of fake culture, like you get foosball tables at the break room or something and people feel happy. It's a real culture that actually propels and motivates people to give their best every day. It puts work in its place. We don't subordinate family to work. We don't refer to ourselves as a family. We're not a family. I can't fire my wife and punch me in the face if I ever try. But we are cooperating towards some common good. And I think when you realize that and put it in perspective, it actually animates the bottom line and makes for great business.
Definitely. I love everything you said there, because I feel like I've seen a lot too, like companies that are like, we're a family, and like to a degree, like I understand the sentiment there, but I feel like there is like a real like distinction that has to be made. And I feel like companies who are seeing what you're seeing and trying to create a culture that not like the anti-foosball culture, like that kind of thing, are kind of thriving, because they're actually taking into consideration real needs, like what people really want when they're an employee of a company, which I think is huge. Um,
That's right.
what's kind of your how are you balancing family, prayer, business? What does that kind of part of your life look like? Obviously, your business is taking off, there's a lot going on, and maybe offer advice from what you've learned from that as well.
I have a saintly wife, and I couldn't do anything I do without her. So she manages the household, and I'm a big proponent of a division of labor in a way that's conducive to the flourishing of a family. So that's definitely one area. I would not be able to manage domestic affairs and extra domestic affairs in running businesses. And then prayer is very, very important. I'm no saint, I'm no mystic, but I do try to start every day with prayer. And I like to go to the divine office in the monastic diurnal personally. I think a monk once told me that the two offices that are proper to the laity are prime and compline. And so prime is super short. It's a great way to start your day. It's like 15 minutes at most. And it's just a really good way to get off to a great start every day.
Definitely. No, I totally agree. How did you initially get the word out or market your business when you decided to start this? Like, 'cause what was the official year that you would say Patmos was founded?
We were the amalgamation of companies that have been in business together in some way, shape, or form since about 2014. And then Patmos officially kicked off in 22, so about 2 years ago. And so the
Gotcha.
existing network and books of business that we were able to sort of combine definitely helped us out. But we did bootstrap, that's for sure. Like we've never raised a round. We don't intend to. I'm in this really blessed situation that we've been able to grow a company to 70 employees out of nothing in like 18 months. Never raised a round, never had to lay anybody off. Thanks be to God. And I don't want to. So, and I can't say I'll never do either of those things, but we've been really blessed. And frankly, the market itself has just given us a world of opportunity between hosting cancellation culture and then this GPU and compute market. We're in this new gold rush of AI, and each one of those AI models needs a place to crunch its ones and zeros in a data center like ours. So that's provided just a huge opportunity for us.
Absolutely, yeah. What's been one of the biggest surprises that you've seen? I'll say pleasant surprises in kind of starting this and running with this and working with your clients.
Seeing big tech talent want to come and join Patmos, and seeing people who are willing to take a dramatic pay cut to work for a little scrappy company like ours has been a huge surprise and very pleasant one at that. I think seeing the sort of reception that this mission gets and the how motivated people can be by in the fight for free speech, and it's we would host somebody even if we don't agree with what they have to say. And frankly, now the right's being canceled, but if there's ever a time when the left is being canceled, you'll have a home on the Patmos Island as well. And so we welcome that because we believe in the power of speech and the power of the truth to work itself out. So that's another huge surprise, just seeing the positive reception that our companies had as we've launched. And we started with a very, very low profile. We were kind of worried about having a target on our back, and now we're kind of peeking our head up and accepting a broader range of clients, and people are really happy.
Very good. Are there any like big projects coming up that you're able to talk about that you're excited about? Maybe you're working on right now, or kind of future plans?
No,
Fair enough.
We actually, yeah,
It's-
if you go to our website at patmos.tech, you don't see a huge like portfolio because we really value our clients, shall we say, privacy. And that,
Mhm.
we host people who other people might not want to be associated with, which we totally respect. So we try not to advertise too many of our clientele. And I think I think that could, hurt the brand a little bit. But there are plenty of
Mhm.
people out there who will tell you and everybody that they love working with us.
Definitely. Um, where can people go to kind of keep up with you too? I mean, I guess I'm curious as an entrepreneur, as a CEO, like I'm assuming maybe I'm wrong that there's like a lot of events and traveling involved to just like grow Patmos. Um, like what do you do on that kind of side of things as far as just outreach, making
I'm on the
connections
road a
kind of.
lot. Yeah, I'm on the road a lot. So we've got data centers in Kansas City, Dallas, Phoenix, and then we've got a pro services dev headquarters in Denver. So I try to get up to the profit centers quite a bit and see what's going on and learn a lot from my team. So yeah, I mean, it's I have a funny background in that I do these very different things. I'm kind of a very strange character. I studied philosophy in college, and that sort of helped me understand Catholic faith. Like, oh, it's all real. I started as a kid, kind of nominally Catholic, never practiced, and then for me, the Catholic life was always this. It's this thing, this compartment over here, but it took, I guess, this intellectual conversion to see, oh, this is real. It's true. It's actually the animating principle of my entire life and the generations that will come from it. And that's a powerful recollection, I think, for me personally, right? So I try to promote beautiful things wherever I can in my own feeble way. So I run when I say I run, I have people running it, but I founded this thing called the Albertus Magnus Institute that gives live interactive online education in philosophy and the liberal arts and the great books. It's taught by great professors who moonlight for us. If you want practical advice for how to do really, really well in big tech, it's going to be really strange to hear, but get an awesome liberal arts education. When you can learn to think, you can do anything you want. There's no conversation you can't have. There's no deal you can't close. There's no skill you can't learn. If you want to excel in tech, go to Thomas Aquinas College or someplace like it. I love hiring interns from TAC because they can think their way out of a wet paper bag and you can teach them anything and they understand everything in light of the big picture. So that's kind of some weird advice I'd give you for anybody who wants to go far in tech or frankly anything for that matter. So we try to make that
Definitely.
available at Albertus Magnus Institute. That's magnusinstitute.org if you want a nice plug there. And then I also have a restaurant. I do this wood-fired pizza restaurant. It's awesome. It's called Pizza Norcia. And if you know the monks of Norcia, I spent a little time discerning with them years and years ago. And they kind of laughed me out of the room. They said, "Who are you kidding, John? You're not going to be a monk." And I said, "Okay, great. That's great." And so I went and got married. But the place always held a very special spot in my heart. And so I founded this little bought a little building and put a little wood-fired pizza restaurant in it. And to this day, it's the only restaurant in the Western Hemisphere who serves Birra Nursia, which is made by those monks. And it's just the best pizza you'll
Wow.
ever have. Yeah. So
That's so
that's,
cool. Where
yeah, go ahead.
where's that restaurant at?
It's in El Dorado, California. So the Northern California
Okay.
foothills, kind of between Sacramento and Tahoe. I am
Very cool.
I'm staying and fighting in this great state of California and trying to raise my
Yeah.
family here. And it could only be done with a lot of grace and a lot of good friends and family, but we're
Hmm.
doing it.
Very cool. Well, if I'm ever in the neighborhood, I'll have to be sure to check that place out.
Absolutely. You'd be my guest.
Very cool. Well, John, I really appreciate your time. Do you just want to give it? I know you've given a few links, but just a quick spiel, like where people can keep up with you and your business, just so they can check you out.
Sure. If you want to learn how to think, check out magnusinstitute.org. There's a podcast over there you can check out too. If you want a website built or an app built, come to patmos.tech. Or if you just want to be hosted in a place that won't hate you for giving them money every month, patmos.tech will take great care of you. And find me there or on LinkedIn or somewhere. But we'd love to serve anybody from your audience. I wish I had a promo code
Definitely.
or something I could give you, but just tell them Mitch sent you, okay?
Okay. Sounds great. I love that. John, I really appreciate your time. It's been such a pleasure learning from you, and hope to keep in touch.
It's nothing. Great work, Mitch. Keep up the work you do. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. God bless.
God bless.